And we are live.
I guess I should scoot over.
Yeah. You did the picture where you can
The
move it
camera's really far.
over.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Hey, folks.
Hi.
I'm Patrick. This is Megan.
Yeah, I'm Megan. Sorry.
We are the
Breakaway Homestead.
Steaders. We are Breakaway Homesteaders. This is the Breakaway Homestead.
Whatever.
Whatever.
Who's going to be there? Me and Patrick.
Who's going to be where?
Well, Doc said what time it was starting. 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Like we do. We are going to be talking about winter preparedness on the homestead. This is episode dos. It's about animals.
Animals this time around.
Your cat is fine. We have the front door open and he is sitting there. What?
Megan says we're becoming those people. Because I was considering actually getting insurance.
Yeah, insurance on the cat because of his hips. So, Cody.
And here we go.
Jack.
With the cats.
Say hi, Jack. Say hi to everybody.
He's like, put me down.
Cody, get down.
But, no, we're doing good. Got some interesting things happen this week. We got our turkeys back.
We did get our turkeys back.
Yeah.
So, for those of you who were with us last week, we were really worried that someone had stolen our turkeys.
This is beer.
Okay, thank you for interrupting for that.
Let's go beer.
Okay, that's great, honey. Anyway, we got our turkeys back. We really thought someone had taken them. Our homestead is not very accessible, but with Pat being a notary, we do get random people that come to our house.
Random folks.
And so we had some genuine concern because we could not find any evidence of them being killed anywhere near our property. Come to find out, apparently they walked pretty damn far to the neighbor's house and showed up, and he opened an old unused chicken coop, and they walked right in because they know, stop, both of you. They know what a chicken coop is, you know, because we keep them cooped. And Cody, stop. And so he had been feeding them corn all week because that's what he had available. And he said he had came by the house and we weren't home. So he tried again. So Pat went and picked him up. And we got our chickens back.
They're all good. They're actually fatter and bigger than they were before. A week makes all the difference, I tell you, when you're raising turkeys. And they are 2 weeks away from freezer camp. Which is sad at the same time because we lost them. We were sad because they weren't here, and then now we have them back. It's come to the realization that winter is here, and winter is the time to start harvesting animals and reaping your hard work.
Yeah, but like I talked about last week. It's, you know, to me, it sucked because this is like my first real time of raising something that was always intended for food.
Right.
So for me, it's also something where I can prove, like, hey, I can do this.
We can follow through.
Yeah.
And trust me, I will not be plucking feathers by myself. Don't look at me that way.
So we're going to be teaching Huxley how to...
No, you're going to be plucking feathers along with me.
Yeah, so... the only time we've ever butchered anything of ours was when we had some roosters way back in the day, and there were only like 3 or 4 of them, so Pat just did them. Yeah,
we got a straight run of chickens at one point, and the majority of them were roosters. So that had to stop because we lived in city limits in a place technically where you couldn't have chickens.
Well, there were 2 laws on the books. One was that you couldn't have chickens, period. And the second one was that you couldn't have roosters because of the noise violation, and you had to keep your chicken coop clean. So those were the 2 laws on the
kept
books.
our coop clean.
So we just kept our coop clean, and nobody ever said anything.
Yeah.
But
we had them pretty well hidden as well. They were below the street, so you couldn't see them.
Yeah, and they were on the back end of our property. Stop it! And so
yeah. So
yeah, we've never eaten any. Oh my gosh! Stop, Cody. Jack, stop instigating. Sorry.
Oh, about to put him in his fridge.
Well, you gotta put the collar on him if you do, because I'm not gonna listen to that. But he's just gonna sit there and go like this at the crate the whole time.
Yeah.
They'll settle down. Yeah, we've never eaten any of our own animals. Our chickens that we have, we use them for eggs. So it's not something that we've ever we eat the eggs.
They're older chickens anyway. Anytime you make chickens, you make broilers. You're not raising them for eggs.
Yeah.
So anything that's going to be older than once they reach that weight, after that point, the more older they get, the tougher the meat gets.
Yeah.
You can still eat them, but they'd be
more like a stew bird.
A stew bird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the rabbits, we have had the 1 set of babies. Well, we have the 2nd set now, but we've only had the 1 set previous, and we sold them because we wanted to make money to make a new hutch. So we chose to do that.
Right.
Your cat is fine. He's hanging out at the front door getting some fresh air because it's 61 degrees outside, and I have the house opened up.
Doors open right here.
So, but no, he's doing fine.
And I haven't decided on what I'm going to do with the rabbits.
Yeah, we talked about selling them because it went really well the first time. But then we've also talked about butchering them and putting them up. But right now the problem is we do not have storage space.
No.
For that many rabbits.
I did get a kit to make sausage.
Stop.
I got a kielbasa spice kit and casings to make kielbasa sausage. Stop. Yeah,
so we're gonna be doing that. So that will, in a way, it will kind of cancel out some of the space, but then you still have some. You have to put the sausage somewhere. So
it's going back in the freezer.
I know, but that means it doesn't give us room in the freezer.
Right. On top of that, well, here's what's going to happen, folks. We're going to have to get another freezer. Simply because I'm hunting, and if I get anything,
we have no room for it.
Freezer.
Yeah.
So.
He has seen some deer.
I have.
But a word to the wise.
Here we go.
Not naming any names, but we have learned that it is better to sight in your crossbow before you're in the deer stand and see a deer. So that is our words of wisdom from Breakaway Homestead. Specifically, Patrick would like to impart this information to you. Sight your weapon in before you get up into position, because we could have 2 deers in our freezer right now and we have none.
It'll happen. I'm pretty confident this year.
There's that.
We'll do that.
We've actually put more hours in the stand than you have any other time.
But this year I've seen more deer, and
Yeah.
the population has really boomed here in North Carolina. And so I could tell you right now, there's specifically 4 deer that run back and forth all the time to our property.
Yeah.
We've seen them.
Yeah.
Several times. And so it's not a matter of, are we going to get deer this year?
It's a win.
Yeah, we will get deer this year.
Yeah. So, but no, he sighted his crossbow after the second miss, and it was like,
it was off.
It was like almost a foot off to the left.
I think the one thing that was refreshing and surprising to me was how much power the crossbow has, and how much
so like he knows once he hits something, it's down.
It's gonna die.
It's going to die.
Oh.
So City Girl Country Heart said great words to remember. Yeah, we have it. So getting started on homesteading says, I'm thinking about getting an upright freezer, have a chest type freezer, can't find anything. We have the same problem. Like I cleaned out our chest freezer like not that long ago when we got brought the pig meat back and from Big Bear, and there was stuff on the bottom of it that like expired in like 2017, like, which I probably should not say out loud because it's disgusting and horrible.
It's just
but
the way it is.
it's what it is. You know, you use the stuff you use, and then
Folks,
it's stuff
goes to the bottom.
It gets compressed down in there and gross. So I did, yeah. I really want an upright as well. Like, I know people, like, the biggest complaint is you can't fit as much in them. But if I fit less in it, but I know what I have, that is far more beneficial to me as, like, the wife of the homestead than to be like, I couldn't tell you what's in my chest freezer right now.
Right.
Like, literally. I mean, I know a general idea of what's in there. Jack, stop. But overall, like, I could not tell you what's in our chest freezer. So it's, yeah, I've been looking at them. Where did we look? We were at Sam's Club the other day, and I was looking at them, and they had one. It was decent size, but like one deer would fill. You know, like, it's decent size, I guess, if you're not homesteading and like shooting things and having bulk meat, if you will.
Right.
But like, I would think the one we're looking at, probably 2 decent sized deer would fit.
What's more expensive, buying a new freezer or buying 60 pounds of meat?
Oh, the 60 pounds of meat.
So
Like, no,
that's the
no.
way we look at it.
I know, and like, yeah, overall, like
Right.
the length of, you know, like our deep freezer has been, like, we've had this one since we were in Laurinburg.
Yep.
We did burn. Well, we got this one, and then the other one died. We had 2 at one point.
The other one still works. They had a bad thermostat. It's
Yeah.
Still sitting at the old
So
house.
yeah, he turned it into like a beer cooler instead of a freezer, to put like kegs in it because he was making his own beer at that point, and we were gonna turn it into basically like a kegerator. So we still have it and it works. It just doesn't work as a freezer. But the one we have now, I mean, we've had, well, Huxley's 5, so we've had it for 5 years.
Yep.
And it still works just fine, and there, you know, no issues with it whatsoever. So, I mean, like, you look at longevity and, you know, everything, it's definitely worth it for us.
Well, that's one thing we say about winter as well. It's outside. It's out the back porch.
Yeah.
So it works harder it works. We keep it full all the time, so it doesn't work as hard as it normally would.
Yeah.
Because it's got full of space, so everything's frozen. But
It's also in the shade, so it's not like in the
shade.
sun.
So in the wintertime, when it gets cold, it hardly runs at all because it's cold outside.
Yeah. So, but no, we love it.
Highly
And,
recommend it.
yeah.
It'll save you tons and tons of money in the long run.
But yeah,
So-
we need a second one.
We got the wood stove finished this weekend.
We did. We almost signed divorce papers in the middle of it,
it beat
but
her so bad.
we got through it, y'all. We fought strong. It is hooked up. The pipe is run through the chimney. The damper's in. It's all put together now. So we made it through. We're still married,
Waiting for that cold snap to run
which
our
is
first
coming
fire.
in. Yeah, it's on its way. It's getting there.
Moving
So
on.
that's done.
HOA
Yep, we're leaving
Thursday morning.
to drive up to the conference. So we'll get in on Thursday and get all set up and ready to go. And my in-laws, Pat's parents, are actually going to come down and meet us. And they uttered the golden words.
We're gonna watch your kid for you.
So Saturday, we get to be 2 people. Like, I might just sleep in the trailer all day.
No.
Like, I don't know. I
No.
don't know. It's an option.
Ain't gonna happen.
It's an option.
We're gonna go to the hot tub. We're gonna find
Yeah,
a spa
we will not be in the conference on Saturday. So if you want to see us, come out on Friday. No, they are coming down and they're gonna get in Friday night. They're hoping around 7, and
camp with us.
they're gonna camp in the fifth wheel with us. And they were like, yeah,
We're gonna glamp.
we figured that we would take Huxley on Saturday so that you guys could actually enjoy the conference. And we were like, say what? It was like record scratch. So we're very excited about that, and especially with Huxley, you know, with his issues, it's it's going to be difficult to keep him together.
Right, but with both of them, they can do it.
Yeah, well, they like them having them. We're looking at some play places for them to take him, and so he won't be. It'll be good for him, and it'll wear him out, and then he'll sleep better, and just all around good.
So if you guys head out to the HOA conference, come and say hi. We may or may not be there together on Friday, but we'll definitely be there together.
Yeah,
on
Saturday.
And we'll be hanging around Robin and Jason and the Forge folks. Forge guy. Takes Forge guy's name.
I don't like my boob. I don't know who you're talking about.
It's the guy who made David's tongs.
Oh, JJL Forge.
Yeah.
You said forage guy, and I thought you meant like I'm gonna go forage for some acorns, not forge. Yeah, but the way you said it sounded like forage.
Forage.
Yes.
Forge stuff.
So yeah, so we will be out there. I'm excited. I've never been. So it should be a good experience.
Looking forward to see Joe Salton talk again.
I'm just looking forward to being around adults.
Adulting.
I'm gonna adult this weekend. I've got to actually find clothes that are remotely adulty. Yeah. So
maybe we can get an Uber and just.
I might have to shave. I might have to shave my legs because I'm gonna be in public.
Did you hear me? Maybe we just
get
an Uber and just drink all day.
I mean, hey, we're
going to the Homestead Cup for some trash.
So
I don't have a kid.
Maybe it might be a thing. But yeah, so we're looking forward to that. Plus, just sometimes getting out of Dodge is fun. Yeah. So it should be good. But yeah. So our topic, are we on to our topic? Or you got something else to say? I don't know what you got going on. Last week you complained that I took too long in the
You do all the time.
The review.
October. This is part number 2. This is winter preparedness.
Oh, you changed it so it doesn't say
for your animals.
Animals. So one of the big things on we have pets, we have working animals, if you will, and one of the things that we've always kind of talked about when we go to add new animals to the homestead is what their longevity on the homestead is going to be like. Like with the turkeys, when we got them in the spring, we knew by this winter that the goal was to kill them or to sell them live for other people to take care of that at the flock swap or, whatever. But they would not be here over the winter. We would butcher at least 2 of them for Thanksgiving and Christmas and do whatever with the rest of them. Either butcher them ourselves or sell them off and let somebody else do the old chop.
All that stuff. Save time.
Yeah, save time and effort on our part, and then we just have the 2 or 3 that we were going to keep. So with that, we didn't have to worry about what we were going to do with them over the winter.
Right. So when you're on a homestead and you're doing all this stuff, right? People farm and people homestead. They live for the winter. Wintertime is their vacation time. They've worked hard all year. They've done everything they could do to get prepared for winter. So when winter came, they could finally take a rest. Just like the animals that are outdoors. Bears go to hibernation. Birds fly south for the winter. Goats and sheep and horses, they start growing their coat for the winter. And so they're preparing for the winter. And they're going to rest. And that's what we're doing here now, is preparing for our animals to rest and recuperate and be stuck in one spot.
Yeah.
For the winter.
So City Girl Country Heart asked what tips we have for the chickens.
We'll talk about that.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of lead you got going on.
Keep going.
Okay. So with our chickens, like we said, we do not at this point have not done broilers. We just have egg laying. We do not have any roosters at this point. We think we might have 2 from our newest set of chicks, but we're not. We're like 80 or we're like 98% sure. But hush. And so what we do with our chickens is they have a coop that is a 6x8, 8x12. 8x10.
It's a 8x10.
We have an 8x10 metal building, like what
Shed.
you see outside of Lowe's or Home Depot, like that type of thing.
It was $280
No, it was not. It was $460 something dollars.
total.
No, for the shed, trust me, it was put on my credit card. And so it was about $200 in lumber, but it's something that we wanted. We have it split up so that we can do new birds on one side and then our older ladies on the other. And then we cut a hole in it to have, an outdoor, yeah, so they could go in and out. And then we have a pinned in thing. One of the biggest things with chickens, especially once they are egg laying, or like at an age where they're actually popping out eggs, not just egg laying versus like a broiler, was the sun starts to go down sooner. The less sunlight they have, the less they're going to lay.
City girl says she's got eight egg laying hens.
No, she has four that are 8 weeks old. And so what we do is we have power run out to the chicken coop with lights in it, to kind of stimulate some more sunlight for them. And what we do is we put it on a timer so that it stays on a little bit later.
Chickens need 13 hours of sunlight to produce eggs fully.
So we simulate that sunlight. And I will say, like, our egg production does go down a little bit in the winter, but I would say overall it goes down in the heat of the summer more than it does in the cool, like the coldest of the winter.
As long as you keep your lights on, they'll still keep going. So what we do is we have it on a timer. It's a cheap little $2 timer that you press the buttons in on, and it turns on at 7 o'clock at night, and it goes for the duration of the time they need for laying eggs.
So it'll come on earlier in the morning, like when the sun would normally come up, during the summer, and then stay on. And then so I know there are people that live in colder climates than ours that don't do anything for their chickens for the winter, or just do very miserable things. Like his father doesn't do anything.
My father, it's like, I forgot to turn the light bulb on for the chickens last night, but they're okay. How cold was it? It's like
10.
It's like 10 degrees.
And we're like, oh God. So in that sense, we pamper our chickens. We do have a heater that we have. It's like a baseboard heater, like an electric one. And so yeah, I think it's still out there. I don't know. We might have to get a new one this year. But we put that in there, and then we put a thermostat on it so that it only comes on once it gets below a certain temperature. And it's not on very high, but it's on high enough that
it's usually on the lowest setting.
Yeah. So it's not a sauna in there by any means, but it's enough that they're warm and comfortable. And that's what we do. You stimulate the sunlight, and they also get more treats in the winter because, like I said, like we kind of pamper them because we want them to keep supplying us with eggs. So,
right.
Like during the winter, they do have an outdoor run that they can still go into, but all the bugs and stuff they would normally dig up and prey on are not there anymore, or not as abundant. So we do. In the past, we've purchased them. This year, we might try to do our own, but we do give them little wormy treats and stuff like that, just to make sure they're getting enough protein, and just the happier they are, the more they'll lay for us. Mm-hmm. So
Chasing Lion says, good evening. Love the topic tonight. I'm out in the garden trying to get everything winter ready. No animals, but plants are keeping me plenty busy. And that's actually going to be next week's topic.
Yeah.
Is the garden. And so we hope you tune in for that as well. Good luck
Morris
with your garden.
Patch of Heaven, they said they had a fox that's taking out our chickens in broad daylight. We had that happen.
About a month ago.
Yeah, we had a couple.
Megan chased it out of
the yard. I chased it out of the yard with a 2x4 because we were in the house.
Hey!
We were in the house, and I was standing. We have double French doors on the back that go out on the back porch and
you can show them if you want.
Into the backyard. We have that capability.
There's the kitchen.
That's our dirty kitchen, but those are our back doors.
Dirty door. Oh, we need to wash that thing.
Yeah.
That's what happens when you have dogs, folks.
And children, or a child. But yeah, so I was standing there, and all of a sudden, all of the chickens went like hauling ass across the yard, like panicked, and I'm like, oh god, there's a hawk or something, because they're normally pretty good about getting underneath something, and there's plenty of stuff in the yard when we let them free range that they can get under. And all of a sudden, here comes this chicken, and this fox is chasing it. And she catches it right at the steps. And I am banging on the door because we have to lock our doors. We have an autistic son, and he will just open the door and run out. And so we have to like key lock our doors.
Double-sided lock door.
And
both entrances.
So I'm trying to get the key off the hook to unlock the door. I'm banging on the door, screaming at this fox. Get it unlocked, run out. There was a piece of wood laying, because why not, right there. And I'm like swinging at the fox. She grabs the chicken and runs off into the woods. Pat is chasing after me because he doesn't know what the hell's going on. And he takes the piece of wood and runs off into the woods and is like banging it on trees trying to get her to come out. And then all of a sudden the chicken just comes screeching out of the woods and ran over with the other chickens. And they all went inside the coop and would not come out the rest of the day. So we were lucky enough that we were out there, or that we saw what happened. But yeah, she didn't come back either. We have not lost a chicken since then. So I think we scared the fox. And we did set some traps and stuff. Big Bear homesteading. He teaches trapping classes, and Pat's taken his class before. And so we talked to him about what we needed to do and set some traps and stuff like that. We never caught her.
We never put traps out.
We did.
No, we
did. You got the lure, the dog lure, because
I have the coyote lure, but we never put traps out.
I thought we
did.
Coyote.
Or for the
Or that was just
fox.
the raccoon.
It was just the raccoon that we set out traps for.
I thought we did.
Because we didn't see him again.
Oh, okay. I thought you would set traps anyway.
But
yeah, so we do know how horrible that is, and we have actually like witnessed them stealing them.
So since City Girl Country Heart asked about chickens, let's talk about chickens real quick. About winter and everything like that. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
I want to talk all night about thoughts.
No, I was just going with that. It really has not been all night, but continue. We were talking about chickens.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how I treat our chickens.
Yeah.
With bugs.
Yes, we do.
Because they need the protein during the winter, because they're not going to be getting that naturally free ranging.
So that's one of the mechanisms animals to have. It's our bird, folks. Our animals have for the winter is constantly eating. Eating provides digestion. Digestion provides heat for the body.
Yeah.
And so that's one big thing. You can keep feeding your animals and keep feeding them as long as they want to eat. It'll keep them warmer. But for the chickens huddle together to keep warm at night. That's one reason why they're more prepared for most of us for the winter time, is because they have feathers, and the feathers do keep them warm, but they also have friends. So if you have one chicken, not a good idea.
Yeah.
If you have multiple chickens, they will huddle together on a roost.
And it's cute.
It is cute. All shelters require good ventilation. Chickens are not the cleanest of animals, and so the ammonia emitted from their manure can kill birds if the place they're in during the winter is not well ventilated.
Yeah, and there is ventilation.
Ventilate.
That's something that we made sure when we got the little building, was that we had ventilation. With cutting the door in the side of it, it gives even more ventilation. Pat built a screen door for the front of it that gives it even more ventilation.
And
so
I also installed 2 vents on it. The top part, just to make sure ventilation was key, because in the summertime it's the same issue. It can get hot in there and it'll heat up that poop, and that stench will come out.
It's stanky.
It's bad. But because they are dirty birds, chickens tend to foul up their water. Best thing you do is what we do, is we recycle old cat buckets.
Yeah.
Kitty litter buckets, the tidy cat kitty litter buckets.
I got one.
What do you do?
Just grab one.
Okay. What you could do is you could take a 3/8 drill bit and drill a hole or 2 holes or however many holes you want to go in that bucket. To go in the side of the bucket, we put ours right here, 1 and 2. Make it low enough to fill with water, and put 2 holes there. And that 3/8 hole is meant for a water cup.
Nipple.
A water nipple. So if you go to
probably any feed store.
Any feed store, I know for a fact, Elby, if you go to Tractor Supply, you go to the feed section for chicken.
Elbers.
They have them hanging up. They look like little cups with little yellow tongues coming out of the middle of the cup. So as the bird goes into the little cup, it'll knock around that little yellow nipple. It'll fill the cup up with water again.
And we use that, and because we also have it sitting inside the
We have two
thing.
of them. One inside and one outside.
But with the winter, like the one inside, it's warm enough in there that it doesn't freeze over.
Yeah, you're going to have to bring your water indoors, or else it's going to freeze or get used to breaking ice.
Yeah.
So that's for your chickens. Other than that, we keep the lights on. If it gets too cold, we'll put some heat in there and go on from there. Other animals you need to really bring inside are pigs. If you have pigs or home pigs.
You ever bring pigs or like give them an inside?
You give them the inside. They are very susceptible to the cold. They require protection from extreme cold. Left outdoors, pigs are susceptible to frostbite. And can even die if left to fend off without insulation, cold, warmth, and a dry place to escape for the worst of the weather. Pigs will pee on their bedding, so they need to be provided dry bedding constantly, or else they can get cold from that wetness as well. So wet bedding leads to diseases and also death. When the blizzard warnings are posted, if you have blizzards, we don't, thank God. That's why we live in the South. Bring the pigs to the barns. But yeah,
that's one thing. Like your parents, like his parents, they have chickens. They've done cows before, but they don't winter them over because one of the things you also have to consider when you have animals is the cost of wintering over.
Cost of wintering over. Is it really going to be worth the effort to get up and freeze your ass off every day for something you could have done during the warm months?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Keep going.
No, it's fine. I was just talking about the cost. Like one of the reasons your parents don't winter over their cows is that the cost of hay is so expensive in New York over the winter because everybody needs it.
Yeah.
That it is not cost efficient for them to winter them over just to slaughter them in the spring.
Right.
So they'll get them, in the springtime for New York where they are and raise them up through the summer. But once they start getting like consistent cold snaps, that's when they do what they got to do because it's not worth it. Like, but down here, I mean, yes, hay is more expensive because it's not such an easy commodity to get because, nobody's fields are growing it at that point, but it's not as high as what his parents would have to pay per bale or per round thing. So it's something like you need to look into your area, your weather patterns. Like what works for us isn't going to work for someone who lives in like the Pacific Northwest, and so it's just, this is just what we do here in North Carolina in our area because it works for us. But we don't have the extremes that like your parents in New York do.
Right. So basically, all animals prepare themselves for the winter. If they're going to be outdoors, they're meant to be outdoors, and they will prepare themselves naturally for winter. They'll grow thicker coats.
The rabbits beef up.
It's actually the most active time for rabbits because rabbits have a winter coat on all year. They're ready for the cold. They want it cold, and they do better in the cold. So it's a good time to ramp up your rabbit production.
We've even seen it in our outdoor cats.
Yep.
Like they look like they're going to keel over in the summer because they lose all their weight and their fat and everything. And then as it starts getting cooler, they just start getting fatter and fatter, and their fur gets thicker, and they're fine. So
think about the outdoor animals that you might have that might need to come indoors. Our 2 outdoor cats will come in if it drops below 35.
If it gets below freezing, we'll bring them in. But we do have heat pads that we turn on the porch for them. Mm-hmm. So they're fine. They prefer to be outside. They will actually rip the screens out trying to get outside. So
They
it's
would
not
rather be
just
outside.
us saying that. Like they literally do.
They get captivated pretty easily.
So I have heating pads. I've made them cat boxes. Like they are fine outside. But once it gets to a point that we are not comfortable with them being outside, we'll bring them in. But it just sucks because we have to shut them in a bedroom because one of them tries to murder one of our indoor cats. So we have to keep them separated. But even with them, you know, we give them stuff to be just fine outside until it's more our comfort level than theirs.
Right.
Like they do fine.
Yeah.
But then it's like, nope, mommy feels guilty. You're outside.
We're more concerned, about the welfare of our animals because it's our job to husband these animals and make sure that they are going to be able to do the best they can. Because we have chosen the majority of these animals to stay over winter.
Yeah.
So
well, that's like with our rabbits, like our mama rabbits and the two or our daddy rabbits. The way we built their hutches, we have, if we need to, we do have small little heaters that we can turn on in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like the plastic chicken wire around it, and then like a metal. The other one has metal on it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there's ventilation from the underneath, but then we also get the 5 millimeter plastic?
Yep.
And we'll attach that around the outside. So there's ventilation, like they're kind of like this, and then the boxes, like
ventilation from the bottom, but the heat traps inside.
But then there's air ventilation in the top too that's not plasticed off. So they have more than enough like fresh air coming in, but it's also like not so much last winter, but the winter before we went the longest time below freezing. And like our highs were in the 20s and our lows were in the teens for over a week. And that for us was just, we were not comfortable with that. And in terms of our animals. So we always try to prepare for the worst that we know can happen here.
Right.
So that if it doesn't happen, that's great, but we were prepared. So we have little small like desk heaters, like what you would put on your desk at your office, that we hook up out there. They don't draw a lot of power, but it definitely still keeps them with just a little bit of extra heat. If we feel they need it, winter coat or not, it still gets cold.
City girl, give them dried mealworms.
That's what I get. They can be expensive. There's other stuff out there that you can find.
Also, maybe consider about raising your own mealworms.
That's what I would like to do, but worms gross me out, so I have not done that yet. But it is something I would like to try. Genie, go outside. I'm sorry. He's at the door. I need to take him outside.
So, another thing you need to consider about your animals that are outdoor.
We go potty.
Thank you. Right. Everybody knows we're going potty. So, consideration for animals. It's a dog. This is so annoying. Is watering your animals. Just because it's cold outside does not mean that your animals do not need the same amount of water they would normally drink in the heat. Give you an example: a sheep or a goat would require at least 3 gallons of water a day, and the average cow will drink about 14 gallons of water a day. And so you need to make sure that they have accessible water during the cold. Some people have electric heaters. Some people put their heaters, their water troughs indoors when they bring their animals in. They'll let them in during the day, or give accessibility to the barn to get water where it's warm enough to get that water. But give you an example: goats are stubborn, sheep are stubborn. Even if there's a thin layer of ice, they will not break through the ice to drink the water. And so something else to consider when you have colder temperatures. They won't eat snow. No animal's going to try to lower its body temperature. So for people who think that, hey, there's snow on the ground, why don't they just eat snow? It's because it'll lower their core body temperature and keep them susceptible to hypothermia. So, looking at my notes here, one thing you want also for your large animals in the fields is a windbreak. The wind tends to pick up in the wintertime for most places, and if you don't have a winter break, you're exposing your animals to high wind chill factors or low wind chill factors, and that's not good for their core body temperatures. So just a single wind break will put a little spoiler on that wind flow, and so it can divert around your animal and give him a little bit of warmth to himself. So talk about antifreeze real quick. It's deadly to animals. Animals, specifically dogs and other creatures like that. Like we also have water troughs outside the tricks we'll go to. If there's any liquids out there, they'll go for it. It's sweet to the animals, and they'll consume it, and they'll die. Wind chill is deadly. If the wind chill is below a certain point, and you feel uncomfortable, they're probably going to be even more uncomfortable because they're out there and you're not. Just put yourself in their shoes, and if you feel like it'd be a little too cold, it probably would be. The paws and hoofs of animals are delicate. They can bind up, they can freeze, they can crack. And so one thing else to consider during the winter is actually getting some Vaseline and putting on your pet's paws and on the chicken's feet to keep them moisturized so they don't crack and do stuff like that. Those furry animals that are outdoors, if you decide to bring them indoors, just remember, give you an example, a rabbit. If you leave a rabbit outdoors, it grows its winter coat. It's prepared for that cold weather. If you go, oh, it's too cold outside, you bring it in, it's still wearing that winter coat. It will overheat and die.
Yeah, or it can lose its, if it's inside for a while and then you put it back out, it's going to lose that kind of adjustment to the cold.
Don't ping pong these back and forth. If you decide to bring them in for the long haul until it gets warm enough outside. So another topic is poop. Poop is an issue. Poop is not an issue during the wintertime. So most farmers look forward to poop in the wintertime. The reason why, it freezes. Poop freezes, it's easier to handle, it's easier to control, and most people do what they call a deep litter method. This is beneficial for the farmer, and it's beneficial for the animals. The reason why is because as your animals defecate and pee, you're covering up with another layer of dry material. Just think of it as compost toilet. And as it compresses down, because the animals are on top of it, it will also decompose a little bit, which will emit a little bit of heat.
Yeah.
But it will also be a barrier from the ground for your animals to be cozying on. And by the time you're done, if you're going through a 6-month winter, that stuff will be 4 inches thick by the time you're done, and you'll be shoveling it out. And it's great compost. It'll work good. Most of it will already be decomposed. Majority of the time, you just put it right in the garden. I wouldn't recommend that. I would recommend composting for at least 2 years beforehand, just to get all the bugs out of it if there's any bugs in it. And but the deep litter method is probably the easiest and best way for both the farmer, because he doesn't have to really do anything but spread stuff out, and for the animal, because they will be warmer and they will also be comfortable.
We do. I mean, we don't do that necessarily, but we do give our chickens more bedding over the winter.
Absolutely.
Than we do during the summer months. Like during the summer months, like we built a floor for the building, so they're not on the ground anyway.
Right.
But like during the summer, we cover it up enough so they're not pooping like on the floor, but it's not thick. But like during the winter, we do give them more, because there are times when instead of getting on the roost in there, they'll just get down in the bedding and make a little.
Yeah.
The cat's right there. He's all wound up again.
We have 4 cats inside.
He's getting better.
Okay.
But so that's kind of what we do.
So honestly, I saw the notes I got. Let me see what else is up here. Make sure that I'm not missing anything.
Hi, Dorkfish.
Got manure management, animal handling. Remember, these animals are sort of slow at this time of year, so take your time with them. Coop maintenance, sheep, llamas, alpacas. The reason why we're not talking about sheep, llamas, or alpacas is because they're designed for the cold. They'll grow a winter coat and they will be right as rain.
Plus, we don't have any, so we don't have any hands-on
Experience
to pass along.
Sources. Let's see if there's anything in here. No.
Not really. It looks like pretty much the same stuff we've been.
Caring for your animals.
Leave a light on.
Leave a light on.
We already talked about that.
Close off all unwanted ventilation from your stuff, but wrap it in plastic. Bring the water indoors. Collecting eggs and milking. Folks, if you have a milk cow, it's not going to stop milking if it's still in milk. You still have to milk your cow twice a day. And so when you're milking a cow during the winter time, you want to make sure it's in a location in a shed that's warm enough for her, because you're going to be washing her udders before you milk her, and she's going to want to be comfortable. She's going to get cold if her boobs are going to get cold if you
Just
wash
think, if your T-taws are out in the wind,
exactly.
they're going to get cold.
Yeah.
Her T-taws are going to be in the wind getting pulled on. They're going to get cold.
So
yeah, that's pretty much.
There's a lot of other things we need to talk about other than animals. In our upcoming one, we're going to be talking about gardening, what you can do in the garden, and then we'll continue on with the next iteration, which is vehicles, and then we'll do like an overall. Hey, this is what we do. Maybe do a question, throw some comments out there.
Maybe do that with the vehicle one, because I don't see that one being a full.
Be surprised.
Oh. Well, yeah, but that's all relative as well. Like what
Right.
your parents do in New York is different than what we do down here.
True.
You know, so that's another one that's very much like you just have to kind of, unfortunately, like you have to learn what your area is, you know, going to be able to sustain or hold, and you know, you have to look into things like prices and things like that, because what we pay down here is not going to be the same as what somebody else pays on the same day.
Right.
Stop it.
Well, I think the genesis of this is if you're going to have animals, you need to take care of them. Yeah, and I just want to say this before we get off the line, before I get the crap out of these animals, these animals are your responsibility. It is your job to ensure their health and their well-being during the winter months, because they can't help themselves, because they rely on you to
and that's one of the things, especially like, you know,
we've had animals die before because we neglect them. Yeah, as far as like animals go, a couple times.
What are you talking about?
Mistakenly not feeding an animal or something like that, or going too long.
What have we had die?
We've had chickens die before.
No, not because we didn't feed them. They died.
No, it was either too cold or something like that.
Oh.
Either way.
I'm like, God, you're making us sound like horrible people. We've had stuff die.
But if you're a homesteader, if you're a farmer, it really it's a wake up call for that person when they make the mistake.
Yeah.
And they will strive.
Well, I would say the things I've learned, like we've had stuff die, we've had stuff get killed. There most of the time with the stuff dying, there's nothing that we could have done. Some of the stuff that I think we've learned the biggest lessons on with the animals is like the rabbits and the one male that had the wounds on him. And that was a real wake-up call for us to, like, we need to do better.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he was fine. He was eating. He was drinking. He was still making baby rabbits with the mama rabbits. But
it was still our responsibility.
It was still our responsibility to be better caretakers for these animals.
That rabbit, we had to put that rabbit down.
We did. Not because of anything we did, but...
Weirdest thing happened. So the rabbit got out of the cage, and one of the dogs started chasing it. and the rabbit was just running around hippity hoppy everywhere in the backyard, and literally runs into Megan.
Like I was standing still.
Like she was standing still, literally at full speed, just pile drives right into Megan's leg, and squeals. Like
and I was
that.
like, oh
Like,
God,
what
like
is it
it's
doing?
dying.
I'm
And
like-
then it jumped up, looked around, and just hopped on under the trailer.
I'm like, this thing is having
like a
seizure
coronary or something.
or
Yeah,
a heart attack or something like that, and
and-
it runs off.
and then it was fine.
I was like, I'm surprised if I don't see this animal ever again.
No.
And eventually showed back up. It was dragging its back legs.
Yeah, so we
so-
don't know if it had a stroke or something,
Or
but
something got to it.
it was just crazy. But that was nothing that we necessarily did. But no, it's hard. Like, you know, you bring these animals in, like our chickens. Like I know Pat's dad looks at me sometimes when I talk about giving the chickens treats or making sure they've got heat or something. He looks at me like, you are special. But to
Suburban
me,
hillbilly.
like we brought them into our homestead in order for them to do something for us.
For
They
us.
didn't choose to come here.
No.
We brought them in because we wanted them to be here. So that means it's up to us to make sure that their needs are taken care of. And if
Right.
we want them to continue to do something for us, like produce eggs, then we need to take those extra steps to ensure that that is still going to happen.
And that they're happy.
And that is important to us because that's why they're here. So we do put the extra time and effort and sometimes money into making sure their needs, even the superfluous ones, are
Right.
covered.
So obsessed. Watch out for animals in your engine
Engine.
block.
Yeah.
That's funny.
We've never had that happen. I've never had that happen.
So, guys, come see us next Tuesday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It'll probably be a little longer show. We're going to talk about the HOA, what we did, how everything went,
And
maybe
then
show
the
some
garden.
pictures, and then we're going to hop into the garden. Talk about garden preparedness. If you have a greenhouse, talk about what you need to do for your greenhouse to get ready for that, and winter crops. And so that's next Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be here. Hopefully you will be too. And if not, watch the show afterwards. So share, like, subscribe to our channel. And we hope you guys have a good one. Good night, y'all.
Bye.